And to welcome to the stage two incredible speakers, Hélène, Michot, and Nathalie Gonzalez.
Thank you, Hélène. Thank you,
To moderate
Nathalie.
this panel, they will be joined by Yseulys, co-founder and CEO of Nathalie, and of course, Loukas Kozonis. Again.
Thank you. Please, yeah, you can take. Thank you, and thank you. We talk about tech a lot today, and but tech is an enabler to do business, right? So we all here, I think, because we like to leverage tech to do a better marketing, and I think it's what we'll talk about in this panel. And perhaps you want to welcome Hélène first.
Yeah, thank you, and welcome, Hélène. I'm happy to know you. You have a lot of dreams. You dreamed of being actor and being on stage. So you are on stage now, not to get the Oscar today, maybe next year. But you excel on something. You excel on data, and you are now head of data growth at LVMH. So connecting data with business, as you said, Yseulys. And you have been there for 3 years of hard work. You'll tell us about it. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Loukas. I'm very happy as well to welcome Nathalie. So Nathalie is a Deputy General Manager for Marketing, Commercial and Communication for Nespresso France, which is a way to have impact on business, I think. So all along your career, you championed the idea that the most powerful brands are built where data meets creativity. And good to talk about creativity as well, not only tech. Combining a passion for customer insight, innovation, and the art in general, I think. You bring really a unique perspective on how business can create meaningful experiences in a digital world. So very happy having you, Nathalie.
I'm really happy to be here. I'm not used to talk to tech people, so happy to talk about business and clients too. And to tell you something, yeah. Do you hear me? Yeah. I was saying that I was really happy to be with you, and I'm happy to talk about business and clients. That, of course, data enables. And it's quite a challenge for me because I've never talked in public in English. So that's my very first time. So please apologize me. Sorry already if I do mistakes, because I'm not good in English at all. So it's a challenge for me.
So no problem. The idea of this panel about battles is also about singularity, and so it's important, I think, with such amazing companies to be authentic. So we're happy to have you with your English first.
Wonderful English accent, isn't it?
So
yeah.
To start on this first theme, because you have a strong heritage at LVMH, strong brand at Nespresso, but you have different data contexts. So we are talking business, not only expertise on data, but Nespresso, you have a direct relationship with customers. You are like the spoiled child of data. You know all your clients. You're very data rich. On the other side, LVMH, you're like a constellation of a lot of brands. You'll tell us about it. You basically invented, we'll see on the picture on the slide, client relationship management, CRM. Jean Patou, more than 100 years ago, or 1 century, it was the oldest CRM database, the oldest client file on screen, older than the Grand Rex, older than the World Cup, 1923. LVMH, 75 brands today, still entrepreneurs, Bernard Arnault said yesterday. And we feel that this data sharing is not easy in this context. So maybe both of you, maybe you first, Hélène, you can share a bit of context about your group and how data plays into that.
Sure. So LVMH, indeed, Bernard Arnault said it yesterday, we're a group of startups. But he said that because at some point, it was one entrepreneur who created something, and now he wants to keep that spirit in our maison. So LVMH is a group of 75 brands. We call them maison across 6 different key luxury sectors. You see a snapshot of our brands here. So wines and spirit, fashion and leather goods, watches and jewelry, selective retail. We also have other activities including hospitality, media. So quite a range and diverse and rich group. And actually, LVMH is just the holding. You know, what makes the group rich is really all of those maisons. They have a strong heritage, they have strong expertise, and at LVMH, we're really committed to preserving this, and this is very, very important. And this in all we do, and it's actually also seen in the organization. Each maison is, you know, they have their own legal entity, their own organization, their own roadmap, their own priorities, and they also own their own data. So we at the group at LVMH, in terms of data, you know, we're not, and we will not tell what maison needs to do with their data. You know, they're absolutely owner of that. But what we are committed to do is to support them in showing them what excellence in data practices looks like. And so that can be, you know, in organization, in sponsorship, in data quality, in measurement. And so this is really our role, and also to make the connector between maison to also show what's best in class in the group, and sometimes also copy with pride. So to come back on your question, data sharing is not easy. No, that's for sure. I think by structure, but also by culture, because you know, in our industry, clients are very guarded, very protected. But actually, at LVMH, we're not sharing data. We're sharing intelligence. And I think that's very important, because when our maison understand, you know, the win, what they have to win by sharing intelligence, that incremental piece of information that can change the game, and they understand that the data is secured, it's never shared, I think this is when things get unlocked.
Nathalie, you comment on your
No,
context?
it's interesting. I was thinking that I love champagne and I love Bulgaria. So I am part of 2 parts of LVMH, and I would love them to tell me more. So yes, you are separate, but building things together is probably important. Well, Nespresso is just the perfect opposite. Let's face it. And it's interesting to see that it's 2 successful companies that have different, stories. We are incredibly lucky at Nespresso because we are born from data. And we have, from the very beginning, from 40 years ago, a single database, an omni-channel international database. And I can tell to anybody of any of the data scientists here that it's really great to work in this company links to that. Actually, we know our coffee growers individual by individual, not only our clients, but we also know, we never tell that, but it's important too to say that we also know our coffee growers one by one. We don't buy on the market, we work directly with it. So data is from the coffee growers to the end client. And we, of course, can know that maybe Yseulys 10 years ago, bought an arpeggio somewhere in Palo Alto or anywhere in Paris. And why is it interesting? Because we live in data all the time. We sell nearly only, kudos to Stéphane, we slightly sell to Amazon, but apart from this, we sell only through our website and our boutiques, 2/3 on our website and 1/3 on our boutiques. So the full funnel is under control. So it's really interesting when you love data and math, as I do. What do we take out of this? Because we are born into this. We take out of this maybe 2 very simple things. One is that we have to keep simplicity all the time. We have to keep simplicity and a focus on client. I'll go back to an example in a minute. And what we are obsessed with is measurement. We measure all the time with perfectly similar samples of things that we do and we don't. So the idea of efficiency, of very strict measurement is important. And simplicity for us means also keeping data that is useful. For example, it's fun, but we have no idea of the birthday of our clients because we don't care. So there's a lot of data that is available, but we don't buy it, we don't use it, because it's not relevant for building our business. We collaborate in data from the very beginning of the story of the company. We always collaborate, but if I may say something important for me that we have not shared together, and I guess you will be agreeing with me in the room, it's that it's not only about data collaboration that we have to talk today, we also have to talk about intelligence collaboration and message collaboration. So if one day I have the chance to exchange my data with LVMH here, and if I exchange my data with people who love champagne, I will probably tell them about the 18 origins from Zimbabwe to Peru of Nespresso coffee. So it's not only data collaboration, but message collaboration that brings business. So happy to talk about data collaboration with you guys, but if I may bring something in addition, it would be probably this.
I think it's a perfect transition. You two mentioned the importance of the language. What is behind the collaboration? Is it only data? And is the data shared, or is it just the intelligence that is shared? To make the transition to the second theme about partnership, we're going to take a step back. We had Air France, L'Oréal, now Nespresso and LVMH talking about the existence of partnership for a long while. So partnership have always existed. So now maybe it's about how to reinvent them or how to augment them to be even more powerful, to have data as a currency, but not as an end goal. It's just a mean to be more efficient. And so today the debates are not about the technology, the debate is about what is a true data partnership. When is the data partnership not building dependence with the big giants, but when is the partnership building win-win equation? As you said, you need to have the right win-win equation to have a true data partnership. You need probably not to share data, but to connect data assets in a secured way. So that's very important when you build a data collaboration, a partnership, to connect data sets that are meaningful. And I think you will have examples on that. And again, it's important to have control. It's important to have access. And so clean room, as we said, it's not the ultimate way to do it, but it's important to have it in mind as a way to access the data and work together on something granular and not only have just, again, dependency on its partner. So it can take several forms, as we showed before, and I think you will comment on that. But what is interesting, as Thibaut said in the introduction, is that it can be between brands, it can be between brands and retailer, and it can be also some leading brands trying to create a global ecosystem, as we saw with Air France before. So a lot of possibilities, and maybe Hélène, you want to comment on this question of partnership, and what is the difference maybe between data collaboration, data partnership? How do you see those different concepts?
It's a good question, and I think depending on who you're speaking with, you might hear data collaboration, data partnership, even within LVMH, within our maison. I particularly like partnership more than collaboration, because I think partnerships grasps way more the huge opportunity there is behind. And I may be biased by our industry, but for me, collaboration is more something that's limited in time, like a limited edition. Where I think partnership, and you mentioned it, it can be in with different parties and different clean rooms, and it's really about building something very solid and building something that lasts. This is where I believe the true value comes. And also, I think maybe many of you in the room are in this journey, but this is a very long journey. There's a lot of change, there's a lot of investment, you're collaborating between teams, between CRM, media, data, privacy, tech. And so out of this investment, to be truly profitable in the long term, for me, this is where, building on relationship and building a true partnership is where you will see the true value, maybe, mid and long term. And also, I think a lot of opportunities come from existing partnership. And this is maybe the first win that we can go after. I believe that we have Netflix in the room. If I just take an example here, you might have seen or not the latest Emily in Paris season with some shots of Emily near and in our flagship store in Fendi in Rome, showcasing the baguette. This is an existing partnership. And so we can build so much on this, on the data opportunities, and actually I saw that Fendi launched a mini capsule, linked to Emily in Paris. So this is an existing partnership, and data can make it way more powerful, way more meaningful, and I think open lots of new discussions.
No, if I can just suggest something, don't be afraid to partner. We've been partnering at Nespresso for years, and there's always something to win, and I totally share your point. That is, you build long-term partnership, and you build long-term growth to your company. And it's also important to be inclusive when you think of business. Being open to collaboration means, for me, not fearing people that you don't totally know. And we are in a civilization where we need to show the way. We need to not fear the persons next to me, but to go and see what partnership is possible. And building an open eye on collaboration and on partnership is really something that has really, at Nespresso, built our growth. And there is no fear to have. There are hundreds of good solutions for having clean rooms. Just choose the right one for you. And it's just, you just have to dare to go to partnership, be open, and if it does not work, to change. But it's very simple in the way, and for me, what is important is that there's a kind of locked system where we are afraid of being open. But open is what our society needs, so we can do that also. There is much more to find through this all the time.
Yeah, and it's true, I think, on a partnership inside a group or with another company or group, so it's true in many ways. And Nathalie, we've understood that you're very spoiled regarding data. And even with that, you are partnering with retailers, for example, like Darty, who are as well, improving their retail media and data collaboration part and accelerating on this side. Can you tell us more a little bit about that?
Yes, just in a few seconds, because it's maybe very specific, but of course we need, again, to partner with Darty, with Boulanger. We now partner also with Amazon, who's in the room. And it's always interesting to exchange on this. It's very interesting to build prospects. The best way to build prospects, we really build the growth of our database through this partnership. And we've been exchanging best cases from one country to another. And it's actually very simple. Huh? There is always a new road to find. And it's an idea of just listening to the key needs of Boulanger are not the key needs of Darty, and the intersection of the partnership has to be found. It's a total intelligence place, but the way we do it is very classical in the way, but we are building our growth on two things. One, which is this partnership with retail. The other one is, of course, the omni-channel thing. At Nespresso, omni-channel means plus 15% of growth. Each time we reach an omni-channel way with a client. So it's really huge. So we build retail media, and we also build things that bring our clients to multiple use of our channels. It's really the two key lines of growth. And we make it very simply, but we just make it all the time, not only on digital, but also in real. And the best thing to do when you think about partnership is a mix of real and digital. Each time we have tried something, we can show, sorry not to share the numbers, but it can be shown each time that a mix of retail, real retail and digital is always the best way to grow.
And talking about in-store, we will have very interesting news about in-store data collaboration just after. So yeah, I think there are space for growth in this area, that's for sure. And the wall between digital and in-store is getting closer and closer, and I think it's good. I'm personally very happy with that. We will talk, it's a 7th edition, and I think we've never talked about this, and it's data collaboration for good. An example that everybody knows is Too Good To Go, because it's based on data. Data from retailers, restaurants, bakeries, supermarkets, convenience store, and they share their inventory data with, and they mix it to go to good. mix it with consumer localization data, and they do a match. So it's really data is at the heart of this. And can you tell us a little bit more about data collaboration for good?
Two quick examples maybe from my company. I'm sure there are hundreds at LVMH. A very short one, which is something we did with Café Joyeux. Café Joyeux is in a way a competitor. They are a coffee shop handled by disabled people, and we finally decided to totally share our data of sales with them, and we decided to create for the very first time of the history of my company a coffee for them. So it was a lot of data sharing, not towards client, but technical data sharing. And in the end, it was for them a way to grow in business, to grow also in hiring people. It has enabled them to hire 90 new people in new shops. And for us, it has been a way to communicate on our investment in mentally disabled people. That was a long-term investment. And it was quite weird at the very beginning because the finance guy were very much against it. And nevertheless, opening our data to them, and so they sell our Nespresso, Café Joyeux coffee, and so do we, and we share benefits, and it helps them to grow. And really building this initially in France and now everywhere on the planet is something that helps mentally disabled people to work, which is really important. And sharing data is sometimes just for good. So I'm just taking this example. Another one, which is probably my favorite one to make it short, is the one that we partner with our worst competitor. I'm really fighting them each morning when I wake up. So it's GDE. It's, we are part of a big company, and GDE is really, kind of guys you all have one. We look at the market share each morning and we say yes or no. And in the end, we decided to partner with them about recycling. Because probably you don't know that coffee in capsule is very sustainable. You probably all think that coffee beans is sustainable, but actually coffee in capsule is more sustainable than coffee in beans because you use less coffee per cup, but you have to recycle. And in order to recycle, you have to share data to see where you can put the recycling center and how you can do it. And we finally decided to partner with our worst competitor on this to build the recycling scheme in France. And in a way, it was a license to operate collaboration. So it was a real growth and long-term, as you say, intelligence collaboration and partnership. So sometimes it's data for good. Why is it data for good? Because now in France, not only capsules, but all aluminium can be recycled. So it's interesting. But daring to share data with your competitor, it seems crazy, but sometimes it's useful.
I think we can applaud, yes. No, but personally, to a personal transition, what I'm really driven by is the meaning behind the things we do. And I think on this data collaboration and data strategy, there is a lot of meaning. There is the meaning of competitivity. We were talking about it at the beginning of the conference. There is the meaning of maybe connecting giants with smaller companies to have also a citizenship impact. And maybe a last one, and I think it's the most important. It's competitors or past competitors allying to build new alliances, because maybe the past competitors are now partners to survive or to reinvent themselves. And I think both of you are good examples of that. Maybe just to comment on this and react, you heard other inspiring vision of Air France, TF1, L'Oréal. Would them be partners for you? How do you move forward concretely on partnership? Because you said it's a question of courage, it's a question of being open, but it's also a question sometimes of being organized to be able to do it, because it's not always easy, it's political. So how do you move forward, Hélène, on this, and Nathalie, on building the meaningful and efficient partnerships?
It's a very good question. I think there are many ways to approach this, and it depends on many things. I think you can approach a partner by its maturity, maybe to move. maybe by its willingness to dare, and because again, this is a learning journey, and so you might want to choose maybe not the most advanced or biggest player where you will win, but where you will learn, so that later you can win more. I think it's also about alignment of strategies. And there are many different types of data collaboration, data partnership, intelligence, maybe it's audience reaching, maybe it's for good. And I believe, and maybe for us at LVMH also, is choosing the partner that has the same vision about data partnership. For example, if I come back to Ben's talk on Air France earlier, what I like is the vision of the experience, which is something that's also very close to LVMH. Is all about the experience, and actually, maybe in a flight, the experience is as important, maybe more important than the destination itself. We can think the same at LVMH for a maison. When you enter in a Louis Vuitton store, you want to buy maybe a Neverfull bag. The way you will be recognized, the way you will be greeted, the atmosphere, the language that that people use, all of this experience is as important as the product and the quality itself. And so when we're talking about data partnerships, what we want in the end is to enhance our customer experience. This is really the true value. And so finding the partners that will help us do the same, maybe it's a win-win because it's same clients that are across all of their journeys, crossing all of these different brands, and we want to align messages, for example, or bring co-created experiences. But this is really about sharing maybe the same vision of data partnership.
Yes, I cannot say it better. Yeah, it's about people. Yeah, data is about people. Can we say that? Collaboration and partnership starts with people and strategy together. Yeah. There are plenty of people in this room who dare, I guess.
Yeah, a good tech, good people, and
good tools,
data.
good tech, good people.
Yeah,
good business.
Yeah, and at the end, good business. And I think another way to do marketing, I mean, more respectful, less. So yeah, I think we all work for that for some years now. And we were talking about AI. I think that it enables us to do what we were dreaming of some years ago, but it's just the beginning, and we need still to work to execute what we want and to execute, and it's still a lot of work, I think, ahead. Perhaps some questions. Yeah. No questions? Maybe remote? Yeah? No? No? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, you have one. Thibaut has always questions, you know.
Thank you. This is so fascinating what you shared. Thank you. I think we all needed a refresher on brands, on customer, meaningful connections, on marketing in general. So thank you, both of you. I think it was amazing. And that reminded me, I must say, of a conversation I had a long time ago with someone from a top luxury house in France, not LVMH, there are some others. And he would tell me, I remember, oh, I hate when, I arrive in New York and in a hotel, someone brings me my favorite brand of water and pretends that they didn't know it. And so because of that, he said, I hate data because I don't want standardization. I don't want people to lie. So what would you have answered? That's a tough one. Huh? And so my feeling was just, I will let you answer and think about it. But I was very young back then. I didn't really know what to say. I was a data guy, and passionate about marketing. Okay, but how could you answer that? And I said, well, I think if you want to maybe the best data usage, the best usage of data is when you don't see the data as a consumer. So it was not a good way to go. Maybe there should be some serendipity, some surprise, and maybe in order to do that, luxury house have the obligation to be even better than others at data.
Yes, then this person should have in his database something where you just put likes to be surprised, which is also an option. It's also one of the lists. You have the list of the water names, and then you have one which is it just did them. But data is not against this. It's a behavior, and it's a customer-centric behavior that you have to take into account, like any other. So it's a choice, and you just have to take this into your database so that you know that this person does not like its water, but he might appreciate something else where he's recognized. So it's the perfection of your database. Again, is it useful to have this in your database? Yes. Then you capture it.
Maybe to add on this, I think it's about trust. And so there is a lot of data that we can collect. Now, as you said, maybe it's not useful to collect it. And I think we have to be very transparent with our clients when we're asking for their data, asking them what we are going to collect and for what purpose. And in the end, it has to bring true value to the customer, to the end client. And, we all want to be recognized. We all want to have personalized experience, but we also want to have our data protected, which is good. Actually, I think we're kind of lucky in Europe in a way. And so it's to find the right balance between the two, but it's if you're very transparent to your clients, I think trust makes it very worth it.
Yes, if you're a good company, you propose in the right way. And then your client has its freedom to choose. The awful thing is when you feel that you're not free anymore. So data is not against freedom. Data enables freedom if you do it right.
And I think to conclude, and thank you very much, like a lot of things in digital marketing and perhaps even more, execution is, I think, what we need to execute, we need to achieve the best. And of course, tech is an enabler, because without tech and data, we cannot execute well. But the quality of execution day to day really the details of the execution is what make business at the end of the day. And I think it's good because it's still a journey, I think, for each company and in each person in this room. Thank you so much. It's been a huge pleasure, and let's continue.
So we will now move on to our next roundtable, Unifying Measurement in Data Collaboration, Mission Impossible?